Just about a month, the government will end fiscal 2016 with a deficit of close to $600 billion. So what does the White House have to say about that? Cue Josh.
There's certainly a lot of money that can be saved, and this will be a challenge that the next president, the next Congress will have to do.
All right, here to react to Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company on the Fox Business Network, wildly successful from 9 to noon. Stuart, first off, your reaction to the upgrade and what we actually are overspending for.
This is a significant failure of the Obama administration. He has boasted that the deficit is coming down. But if you look at the numbers, there is a higher deficit in each and every one of his years than in any previous year for any previous president. Look, the bottom line is it's now going to be $590 billion worth of red ink. That's how much more we are spending as opposed to taking in. Right. That's a gigantic gap of over $500 billion. And as you just heard from Josh Earnest, they're pushing it off to the next president. It's somebody else's problem now. That's passing the buck, is it not?
Absolutely. When he took office, the national debt was at $10 trillion.
10.
Now it's at $20 trillion.
20.
And the forecast is that the deficit will spike 33% next year alone?
Yeah, that's
because
right.
of why?
Well, don't confuse the debt and the deficit. The debt is the accumulated deficit.
Right.
And the deficit is going up, so the debt will go up. That's what's happening here. And it's a huge problem for the next president. What's that next president going to do? Hillary Clinton will raise spending and raise taxes. That's a guarantee of an even bigger deficit.
Meanwhile, our Pentagon is starved, and the next president, both president nominees says we're going to get more money in the Defense Department. It's not going to happen. Keep in mind, too, that Donald Trump says I can do a better job of the deficit, but he also says that he is not going to cut entitlements.
Okay, look, here's my opinion. The only way out of this mess, the only way to alleviate the debt mess, is to grow the economy. You've got to grow it vigorously.
And tax reform.
And my opinion is that Donald Trump will help to do that. He's going to lower tax rates on corporations and individuals. I think that stimulates the economy and gives you growth. But when he does that, when he cuts taxes, the immediate result is you got an even bigger deficit in the first couple of years. That's the way it works. There's no way around this mess. The deficit is going up, the debt is going up, and that's a problem for the next administration. That's the way it is, folks.
Okay, the question is who's going to be at the head of the administration?
Yes, that's a good question, is it not? Okay.
Good luck on your show. Now you got Nigel Farage.
Yes, we do. Nigel Farage today. Thanks very much. Thank you.
All right, coming up straight ahead, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both packing punches on the campaign trail.
Hillary Clinton ran the State Department like a failed leader in a third world country.
So who won this round? We're stepping into the ring with former boxer and political guru Ed Rollins. Who's his cut man? Plus, Hollywood is raising millions for Hillary, but why? Comedian Jeff Foxworthy reacts to that in a Foxworthy way.
Here's some quick headlines for you. A 59-year-old woman plummeting 40 feet from a zip line to her death. How did that happen? No one really knows yet. She tumbled from the popular Treetop Adventure attraction at a state park in Delaware. That company and investigators are now trying to figure out exactly what happened. And the mom of the kid who killed 4 people while driving drunk before getting off easy because his lawyer said he was too rich to know better, she has a new job. This picture surfacing of the affluenza teenager. Remember him? Ethan Couch? That's his mom. Her name's Tanya. She's working at a bar now. Well, she just got off house arrest after running off to Mexico with Ethan last year when he broke his lenient probation agreement. There they are together. Steve, over to you.
All right, Ainsley, thank you very much. Well, the race for the White House is a knockdown, drag-out fight to the finish with nominees going toe-to-toe on the trail until the voters' final decision on November the 8th. And we're keeping score each week here in the title boxing ring with former prize fighter and political analyst Ed Rocky Rollins. Good morning to you again, Rocky.
Good morning. I am Rocky.
You are. It's been a rocky road off and on at times, but Trump, you say, has had a good week.
This is a good week. He's got a new team in place. They're on the air and with television. I think this has probably been one of his better weeks.
Okay. And we should point out as well that you have a super PAC for Trump.
I'm basically a Trump supporter. So.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to examine 3 sound bites, see who got the best of it. First one, ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump on Hillary's health.
Hillary Clinton created an illegal private email server, deliberately, willfully, and with total premeditation. Premeditation. Could be the first way was right, actually. Premedication. I think I like it.
I don't know why they are saying this. I think, on the one hand, it's part of the wacky strategy. Just say all these crazy things, and maybe you can get some people to believe you. On the other hand, it just absolutely makes no sense. And I don't go around questioning Donald Trump's health. I mean, as far as I can tell, he's as healthy as a horse.
Okay, Ed, who got the better there?
I think he got the better. Again, it's an issue that may not be a legitimate issue, but if anything happens on the campaign trail, if she stumbles along the line or what have you, it reminds people that she did have a serious head injury a couple years ago, and we have to have some concerns.
Okay. Round 2, Hillary versus Trump on immigration.
Hillary Clinton wants a totally open border. She wants catch and release. She wants Obamacare and other things for illegal immigrants, in many cases more than our great veterans get.
My understanding is that the comment you just referred to was the third different position he took yesterday on immigration. Somebody has told him, I guess the latest people that he's consulting, how damaging his statements have been. He's trying to do, a kind of a shuffle here, but I think we need to look at the entire context. We need to believe him when he bullies and threatens to throw out every immigrant in the country.
All right, well, he's kind of softened that. Who won that round?
He clearly did. I mean, again, he laid out the fact that she wants to let everybody in, and I think to a certain extent that's not a popular position with the country. This reinforces his base. He did stumble a little bit on the issue this week. He needs to have one declarative statement the rest of the way. This is my position on immigration. I'm going to stick with it. Certainly, it's strong to his base.
And it sounds like that's going to be coming up. In the meantime, the big story this week, here's Hillary versus Trump on Her Family Foundation.
Hillary Clinton ran the State Department like a failed leader in a third world country. She sold favors, she sold access, and wait till you see when it's revealed all of those people, now it looks like it's 50% of the people that saw her had to make contributions to the Clinton Foundation.
The foundation is a charity. Neither my husband nor I have ever drawn a salary from it. You know more about the foundation than you know about anything concerning Donald Trump. I think it's quite remarkable. His refusal to release his tax returns is even more concerning, given the recent news that his businesses are hundreds of millions of dollars in debt to big banks, including the state-owned Bank of China.
And the third round goes to?
This is Trump's. This is the biggest opening he's had to date. She may say her husband and she did not take a salary, but they basically have a net worth of over $200 million. Half the people outside of government who went to see her were big givers. They gave over $150 million to the foundation. So it really looks like a play for pay.
Okay,
and we don't know a lot about the Clinton Foundation.
No kidding. So as we review the week, it looks like Donald Trump got the better of her.
Donald Trump got the better. I think there's two things. He certainly did on the sound bites. He's had a great week of momentum. She's out raising a lot of money from Hollywood, though, and that certainly benefits her in the overall week because she was stronger on television buys and raised a lot of money.
Ed, always a pleasure.
Thank you, my
See
pleasure.
you back here in the ring next week. All right, meanwhile, coming up, they have no fear of the United States. This new video shows Iran harassing American ships in the Persian Gulf again, but will we do anything about it? We're going to talk about that. And Hollywood, as Ed was just saying, in the tank for Hillary Clinton, raising millions for the Democratic candidate. Comedian Jeff Foxworthy has something to say about that. You don't want to miss it. He is coming up next. Come on, get in the ring.
Every girl crazy about his shine as man.
I saw that Jennifer Lawrence was just named the world's highest paid actress, bringing in $46 million last year before taxes. Yep, she narrowly beat out the world's second highest paid actress, Hillary Clinton.
At $33,000 a plate or a selfie, I understand what he's talking about.
Holy cow.
Look
Well,
who's
look
here.
who's here.
Comedian Jeff Foxworthy back with us. We brought him outside. We sense you're an indoor-outdoor comedian. Are we right in that
I'll
assumption?
do anything, yeah.
Good, 'cause we've got a weed whacker.
I'm good with a weed whacker.
I bet you are.
I got a farm. If I'm not working, I'm on a tractor, so I can do the weed whacker.
See, you've got a farm. You're a little different than a lot of celebrities. How do you explain how the political left seems to be made up of a lot of people from America's left coast?
I have never understood that, which is why I don't live on America's left coast. I decided to move back to Atlanta in '97. That's where I wanted to raise my kids.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing, Jeff, is that in acting comedy, it's the ultimate meritocracy. It's you got to outwork the other guy. You got to find a way. There's no template for it. And sometimes you're very good, but you don't get the break. That's America. Yet when they actually seem to go to the left, it says you can have all this for free.
Absolutely, I do not understand that at all. And you know, it's kind of interesting in watching last night. That is a little bit of a door that Trump has kind of opened to say, hey, if you're living in fourth and fifth generation poverty, we don't know what the answer is, but what you're doing is not working. Perhaps it's time to go. There's got to be another way.
Yeah, he said, what the hell do you have to lose?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's saying if you want more of the same, then vote for Hillary Clinton. If you want change, vote for me. This is what he said about all those folks in Hollywood supporting Hillary Clinton. Listen.
The only people enthusiastic about her campaign are Hollywood celebrities, in many cases, celebrities that aren't very hot anymore.
Now, is he talking about appearance, do you think, or simply on the hotometer on if you're popular in Hollywood, you're making a lot of money, stuff like that, a lot of buzz?
Well, I don't know. I mean, probably the hotometer, though. I mean, Justin Timberlake's doing okay these days, I guess. But
he's big on the hotometer.
Yeah, he's good. Well, I asked my daughters. Yeah, he's good on the hotometer.
So are you and Larry the Cable Guy. You're hot. I mean, you guys are hot guys.
We're going to send you to the eye doctor, Brian. Well, I mean, I'm so lucky that I'm still getting to do this thing that I love to do. It because most comedians don't have a very long window of popularity, and 32 years I've been doing this. Still love doing it.
You should do a show. Are you luckier than a fifth
grader? Yeah, I am luckier than a fifth grader.
Whoever runs Netflix, genius. And I understand you have a new special on Netflix.
By the way, thanks for your password. We don't share the password. It's illegal. We did that story last week.
Let's show the audience a clip of what's coming up for you, and then we'll talk about it.
Sure.
I have a rule in my neighborhood. If you walk your dog and your dog does his business in somebody else's yard, you need to get a little plastic bag, pick it up, and dispose of it. So you drive through my neighborhood, and there's all these attractive women walking around with poo-poo purses. And I know the dogs are confused. The dogs are like, wait a minute, you're taking it back home? Why did we have to walk 3 blocks? I could have pooped in the living room, saved us both some embarrassment.
That is so true.
That's great.
Well, it's part of a big thing about the stupid things we do in this country. We don't focus on the fact we're $20 trillion in debt. We worry about things like that, about whose yard your dog's going in.
So Larry, thinking of you and Larry the Cable Guy.
No, I have sleeves. I have sleeves.
I know. And you shower.
And I did shower.
Right. What about Netflix? This whole Netflix and Amazon. This is brand new, right? Have you adapted to this new world?
Well, and it's funny because Larry and I were talking about it. I said, if I was starting in comedy today, I don't know how I would make a living because so much of the money I made in the early days were off of albums or CDs. I mean, the first 2 albums I did each sold almost 4 million copies. Well, now if you have one that sells 50,000 copies, because nobody buys them anymore, you download them for free. In the old days, they would say no photography. Now I walk on stage, every third person's got their phone. I'm on YouTube before I'm back to the hotel. And so it's just a totally different world. But Netflix has made it really a cool way to do this. And we kind of decided, Larry and I, we went back and wrote all new material, went back to the little clubs and just started from scratch. Yeah, we do. Every time I think of a joke that I go, I can't get away with that, I call Larry and I go, you can have this, you can have this.
That's great.
And so, but we went back to these old little theaters and we both do stand-up and then we do a Q&A at the end. We just pull the stools out out and let people ask questions. I've had a ball. Just had a great time doing it.
Well, we've had a ball having you here today. Jeff,
Always
a
good.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Tell Larry the Cable Guy we said hi.
I surely
And I
will.
love the name of it. We've been thinking.
We've been thinking.
We've
Yeah, I
been
got to
thinking.
have a place to put it.
There it is. So go
We've been
download
thinking
that
about
on
the
Netflix.
poop purse.
August
Thank you.
26th.
Great to see you. We're so glad you're here. All right, Heather's inside. She's got some headlines for us. Hey, Heather.
Good morning to you and to everyone at home as well. We begin in Iran, where the U.S. is slamming Iran for harassing our warships again. This time, 4 Iranian boats caught on camera coming within 300 yards of a U.S. destroyer in the Persian Gulf.
270 relative and 300 yards. Bridge-to-bridge calls were conducted, no response. Weapons uncovered, man conducting routine security patrol.
Well, they backed off after several warning sirens. You heard that there, and some flares as well that were sent off. Navy officials calling Iran's actions, quote, unsafe and unprofessional. It's just the latest act of aggression by Iran following the capture and release of 10 U.S. sailors back in January. Well, first they blocked conservative content from showing up, and now Facebook wants to tell you what your political views are. The site puts you in categories based on the pages that you like. You can be liberal, moderate, or conservative, even if you haven't liked any political pages. Facebook will just base your political views off anything and everything that you like, and this is making it easier for Facebook to sell ad space to political campaigns. And suck it up. That is the message from the University of Chicago. Then they have it for incoming freshmen. In a letter, the university says this: we do not support so-called trigger warnings. We do not cancel invited speakers because their topics might prove controversial. And we do not condone the creation of intellectual safe spaces. And finally, a 5-year-old uses his allowance to buy lunch for some police officers.
Mommy, feed the ducks and the chickens.
William saved up for 7 months to buy sandwiches for the New Jersey officers. William wants to be a police officer himself, and as a token of their appreciation, the officers gave him his very own badge, and they drove him around in a cop car. Certainly an exciting day for him. Now we're going to go back out to you guys on the plaza.
Great story. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And it's probably time to go check with Maria about the weather.
You heard the news at 6:30, right?
Yes.
She's leaving to go to Central Michigan to get her PhD.
That's not hype it up too much, because if I fail my classes, it's going to be pretty embarrassing.
It really is. Not to Jeff. He'll put it in his act.
Let's go ahead and switch gears now, because we did have a tornado outbreak yesterday across the states of Indiana and also in Ohio. And today we could be seeing more thunderstorms out there that could bring severe weather, including damaging winds, large hail, and potentially even some additional tornadoes. So we'll be watching that area very closely. The plains do also have a risk to see additional severe weather today. And then the tropics have been heating up out here, and we do have a disturbance that we've been watching already for several days now. It hasn't developed into a depression or a tropical storm just yet, but computer models continue to hint that it could be intensifying across the Bahamas over the next few days and impacting parts of the southeastern U.S. Now, a lot of question marks still. Really, we just need to watch it very closely here over the next few days as we head into the weekend if you live anywhere from Florida up the East Coast or even in the Gulf. Let's head over to you, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian.
All right, Maria, before you go, though, it doesn't look like it's going to be a hurricane, right?
No, the odds are a little lower that it could be a hurricane. It might be a tropical storm or a depression as we head into the weekend. But either way, you're going to be dealing with a lot of heavy rain from that storm and very gusty winds across Florida, I think, coming up.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marlena.
Soon to be.
Yeah, not yet. 3 more years.
All right. Jeff, great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Always
Great to
a
see you.
pleasure.
Best of luck with you now.
Jeff
Would you like to do the tease?
Sure.
Can you read that?
Sure, I can. Hillary Clinton put so much effort into keeping the press away. We've seen her actually rope off reporters this morning. She is trying to explain away why she hasn't had a press conference this year. We are live on the trail.
You are smarter than a 4th grader. And what did your kids do this summer?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice.
Well, this 10-year-old memorized the entire Constitution, and he joins us right now after he got hair and makeup this morning.
Are you smarter than a 10-year-old?
No, I'm not.
Now to the race for the White House. Donald Trump ramping up the rhetoric against Hillary Clinton, telling a packed crowd she's a bigot. So what's Hillary Clinton doing?
Let's talk to senior political correspondent Mike Emanuel, who is live in Reno, Nevada. He is officially the only person awake at this hour. Mike?
Well, there's a few things going on here this hour. Steve, Ainsley, Brian, good morning to you. Here in Reno, Hillary Clinton is expected to accuse Donald Trump of taking a hate movement mainstream and peddling prejudice and paranoia. So no surprise, Trump issued a preemptive strike.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot who sees people of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future. She's only going to take care of herself, her husband, her consultants, her donors. She doesn't care what her policies have done to your communities.
Hillary Clinton has been fundraising all week, 3 days in California, including Northern California last night. Her campaign figured late August, before the fall gets going, was a perfect time to raise serious campaign cash. But with questions being raised about her leadership of the State Department and whether donors to the Clinton Foundation were given special access, she called into CNN last night and she was asked why she has not done a news conference with reporters in more than 260 days, almost 9 months.
Well, Anderson, I'm talking to you right now, and I've given, I think, way in excess of 300 interviews this year. So I'm going to continue talking with the press and answering questions. So, stay tuned. There'll be a lot of different opportunities for me to talk to the press, and as well as continuing to talk to the American public.
With the mainstream media calling her on it, we'll see if there's a change in approach by the Clinton campaign or whether her campaign advisors believe she can ignore reporters and still sail to the White House. Steve, Ainsley, Brian.
All right, Mike Emanuel, 4:49 a.m., Reno. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, what did your kids do this summer? Probably not this.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice.
That 10-year-old, there he is right there live, memorized the entire Constitution. Hey, we're going to talk to him in just a minute.
Good morning. But first, if he memorized the encyclopedia, he would know that on this day in 1962, The Locomotion by Little Eva was #1 on the charts. Now everybody, let's do The Locomotion.
She's from California. He already knows the Constitution better than most adult politicians.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the confidence, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
The cutest kid ever. His name is Nathan Vaughn, memorized the entire U.S. Constitution, and there he is. He joins us now. Hey, Nathan.
Hi.
Hi, why did you do this, Nathan?
Well, when I was memorizing the Declaration of Independence, my dad had a challenge. When I started homeschooling, my dad had a challenge for me to memorize the Declaration of Independence, and after that, I started learning about America, and I loved it a lot. So I wanted to memorize the Constitution.
Well, and you did. It took you 137 days. How did you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, adults are watching right now, along with kids.
Yeah.
They want to know how you did it. So tell us the tips that maybe you can relay for us.
Well, every day I did one segment, which was about 40 words, so I memorized 40 words a day, and whatever I memorized before my first segment, whatever I memorized before the segment of that day, I would have to repeat.
Well, Nathan, do you remember, what's your favorite passage? Maybe 40 words, your favorite thing that you memorized?
I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Why is that your favorite?
Well, I want to be president, and I want to be president someday.
Hey, you know what?
Awesome.
Normally presidents, Nathan, need someone to tell them what to say, and they repeat it. You will not need that. Nathan, when you read this stuff at only 10 years old, what do you get from it? Why does it mean so much to you?
love learning about America. I love listening to debates and all that, so I had a lot of interest in it, so.
Well, that's great. You know, Nathan, you set your mind to something, and I believe, obviously, you've achieved it. I think when he says he wants to be president, I think it's going to happen. What year are you eligible to become president? Do you know?
I don't know if you think
To become president, you have to be 35 years old.
Good job.
All right, so we got 25 years to go, and I look forward to that. Ed Rollins wants to handle it. He's in the green room now. We're going to talk to him. He's got a lot of experience. Nathan Bond, you're an icon to 10-year-olds all across America and to parents. Special thanks to your parents for making it happen, especially your mom, Heidi, who work with you every day except for your birthday to teach this to you.
And Nathan, we have an empty chair here. Steve's over in the green room, but one day you're going to be on the set with us, and we're going to be interviewing you as you are running for president.
He's going to make me look bad. The answer is no.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Coming up, have you heard about the Trumpocrats? They could determine who wins the White House. We're going to introduce you to them in the next hour. Good Thursday morning to your family. Tail end of the week. You almost made it. It is July 25th. I'm Ainsley Earhart. Donald Trump just hours away from a high-stakes meeting with minority leaders after saying this about immigration.
They'll pay back taxes. They have to pay taxes. There's no amnesty as such. There's no amnesty.
All right, so how is that message resonating now this morning? We are live on the campaign trail.
And meanwhile, more damaging reports are piling up about the Clinton Foundation. But Bill Clinton says there's nothing to see here, folks.
We're trying to do good things. If there's something wrong with creating jobs and saving lives, I don't know what it is.
And he doesn't stop there. We'll tell you where he does stop.
All right, and by the way, I just got a question to ask you. Are you a member of ISIS?
No.
If you want to come into the U.S., the government should probably ask that question, right? Too bad we left it off the form. So we'll not have to ask. Let me just remind you, this is required reading. Mornings are better with friends.
Yeah, that could be all. Yeah, what would it be? A would be friends. What would be some of the other choices? Mornings are better.
Don't give me choices.
Okay, friends. Guess what? We have Venus Williams. She is going to be here on the show with us.
Yep.
So excited about that.
We're going to be playing tennis right over there.
The U.S. Open is around the corner. It is so much fun. If you ever get a chance to go, it's here in New York City. It is such a great time.
It's the official conclusion to the summer. Also, Shannon Bream's going to be joining us. And while you know her from the news, and while she says she is not a good cook, she says she can make a really good chicken pot pie.
Yeah, it's semi-homemade, she says.
All right, so that's coming up in this hour of Fox and Friends Live from 48th and 6th Avenue, where it's beautiful. It's currently 74 degrees.
With a little bit of a breeze, yes. Donald Trump holding a high-stakes meeting today to win over the minority voters.
This after promising no amnesty last night at a town hall with Sean Hannity.
But is his position changing? Peter Ducey is following the latest live outside Trump Tower in New York City. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter, we have your dad on this avenue, and you're a block away on 5th Avenue. We're just surrounded by Duceys here in the city.
I know. It's a good time to visit and a good time to be at Trump Tower, especially after what happened last night at that town hall, where Donald Trump says basically that he still wants to build a border wall and put violent criminals on the other side of it. But the Republican nominee is now saying that his position on people who came into this country illegally but haven't been breaking a lot of laws since they got here could be softening.
You have the person, 20 years, been an upstanding person. The family's great. Everyone's great. Do we throw them out or do we work with them and try and do something? Go a step further. They'll pay back taxes. They have to pay taxes. There's no amnesty as such. There's no amnesty.
Right.
But we work with them.
When Trump tried to measure support for this new language about immigration by asking the crowd at that event to react, the general response did sound positive, and he's not just trying to get Hispanic voters on his side now. Trump continuing to court African-American voters, now reportedly planning to tour a part of Detroit that he once likened to a war zone with Dr. Ben Carson by his side in the next few weeks. But the first order of business for Mr. Trump today here at his tower in Manhattan, a few blocks away from where you all are sitting, is going to be a sit down with some young field operatives who are getting ready to fan out to battleground states until November. This specific group is part of the Republican Leadership Initiative, an RNC effort to get minorities and millennials more involved with the Republican process when they may not have been otherwise. So that's going to be about 2 hours from right now behind us, and then Trump is off to a rally in Manchester, New Hampshire, and a fundraiser in Aspen, Colorado. Back to you.
All right, Peter Ducey on 5th Avenue, and we're on 6th Avenue. And
Where's Sally?
I've just sent her over to 7th Avenue, so we got Midtown covered.
We're covered. You're right.
So in 2010, the AP said, excuse me, as Secretary of State, can we have your calendars and schedules? Because we just want to review who came to see you. And they said no. In 2013, the AP says, can we have your calendars? We already asked you again. They were unsuccessful. The State Department didn't respond. They finally, due to a federal court ruling, had to respond. When the AP looked at those logs, they found that about 60% of the people that went to see Hillary Clinton from her private life, not work-related, were significant donors to the Clinton Foundation.
And they tweeted about it. And the Clintons were not too happy about it. This is what the AP tweeted based on the information they found. More than half those who met Clinton as cabinet secretary gave money to the Clinton Foundation, which is factual.
Yeah, well, the AP stands by the story, even though the Clinton Foundation, and you're probably hearing this Brian Fallon soundbite today say, you know, they were cherry-picking the information. They were cherry-picking it this way. They did not include the people who were representing foreign governments or federal employees because she was going to meet with them anyway. Also, the other way they're cherry-picking is they don't have all the records. They have asked repeatedly for all the records, but the Clintons have stonewalled.
So the number is, these are all the non-governmental people that she met with, and out of that, there are 185, and more than half of them, they found out, were giving money to the Clinton Foundation. So basically, so a lot of people are saying this looks like, if you gave me money, then you can buy access to the government.
But on top of that, guys, they also released 14,900 emails that she did not submit, many of which show an interaction, a commingling between the foundation, donors, and the State Department.
But wait a minute, Brian. I thought she released all of her emails.
Oh,
You're saying she left out about 15,000?
I'm not sure that came up with her phone interview last night, but Bill Clinton says you guys are all missing the point.
Yeah.
We're trying to do good things. If there's something wrong with creating jobs and saving lives, I don't know what it is. And the people who gave the money knew exactly what they were doing. I saw people were criticizing Hillary for meeting with Elie Wiesel and Muhammad Yunus, 2 Nobel Prize winners. I just think, you know, it's election season. But I feel good about it.
Well, he can put a happy face on it and say, look, she's just trying to help people. Nonetheless, Donald Trump wants a special prosecutor. And that's getting a lot of people's attention because, remember, how did he get into trouble? He got into trouble with perjury, with lying. And now it looks like they're spinning another yarn.
Well, remember when we got on set this morning at 6 o'clock, we asked you to weigh in on this. And many of you have emailed us and tweeted us, and we really appreciate that. This is from Pilot Dad 66. He says, notice how he says trying. Just like Hillary says, she tries to tell the truth.
By the way, if they need a special prosecutor, Ken Starr left Baylor, so maybe he's available. Drew says the AP does not need to notify modify their tweet regarding the Clintons. It points to the truth that one drop of poison can ruin an entire cup of wine.
I hate it when wine gets ruined. And finally, a tweet from Mildred. What exactly does the Clinton Foundation do? I hear the name all the time, but never the so-called good deeds. Well, Mildred, we can tell you that the Clinton Foundation was placed on a watch list by Charity Navigator a couple of years ago because a watch list for suspicious activities and charities. And the Sunlight Foundation says the Clinton Foundation operates like a slush fund for the Clintons. Hope that helps. Wow.
A lot of big topic on the campaign trail is immigration. Well, the current administration, if you try to come into this country, you have to take a test. And on that test, a lot of people are wondering why it doesn't say, are you a part of ISIS? Are you a member of ISIS? It does say, are you part of a terrorist organization? And you have to check no, obviously, in order to get in this country. But some people want it to go further. They want to ask more questions about that so that they make sure we're vetting the right people who want to come in this country.
Sure. When we put the questionnaire up, could we put up the questionnaire one more time to the director? See, it's kind of outdated questions. Have you ever been a member of the Communist Party, any totalitarian party? A terrorist organization is good, but why not specify ISIS or anything else like that? And then on question 13, it's got, are you a Nazi sympathizer? That seems a little dated, too.
Yeah, it's up for Congress to get their act together. Senator Sessions says this is a little bit outrageous.
No nation has to take somebody that's dangerous to them, presents a threat to them, or can't flourish and do well in their country. We need to examine people who apply. We have more applicants than we have slots for, and we should select the people who are most able to flourish and be happy in this democratic republic that we have, not somebody who wants to completely change the Constitution and laws of our country.
And, of course, you're also counting on the terrorists telling the truth while they're filling out their application.
Right. He talked immigration yesterday. A major plan rolled out next week from the Trump organization. We'll see where that goes. It shows more of a nuanced position, but the wall's going to be big, and it's going to be about 35 feet high. And we really do believe that Donald Trump knows how to build things.
Yeah, he says he's... Good point, good point. All right, let's hand it inside to Heather. She's got our headlines for us. Hey, Heather.
Good morning to you and to everyone at home. We have some breaking news for you. Crews are cleaning up a toxic chemical spill right now. It's the same cancer-causing chemical that was involved in the Aaron Brockovich scandal. 400 gallons spilling overnight at a metal plating company in Connecticut. Firefighters still on the scene at this hour, getting people out of their homes. Crews taking every precaution, shutting down drinking wells. Also breaking right now, the CEO of the company that makes the life-saving EpiPen is going to make it cheaper. Heather Bresch cutting out-of-pocket cost in half. And Milan plans on covering up to $300 and ramping up assistance for uninsured patients. Bresch, of course, came under fire after hiking EpiPen prices by more than 500% ever since taking the company over back in 2007. It started at $100 before spiking to more than $600. Rescue crews in Italy frantically digging for survivors of an earthquake this morning. We're now learning that nearly 250 people are dead. Hundreds have been pulled from underneath the rubble, including this incredible moment when 2 children were rescued. It was amazing. The little boy and a baby girl, they were found alive after 17 hours. And take a look at these before and after pictures of the town. Really tells the story. They're still dealing with aftershocks this morning. And check out this video. The crew and crowd can do nothing but watch as the world's largest aircraft crash lands in England. The 300-foot-long aircraft took a nosedive, damaging its front end. No one was injured. The aircraft was originally designed by our military to carry cargo and for communication. But the Pentagon bailed on the project and a private company took it over last year. Those are a look at your headlines. Back to you, Brian Ainsley. Steve?
There goes the blimp.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Coming up on this Thursday, he got $90,000 in a settlement with the state of Minnesota. So what did he do with the money? He reportedly went to Syria to join ISIS. We got details about his story coming up.
And have you heard about the Trumpocrats? They could very well determine who wins the White House. And you're going to meet them next.
All of them?
Yep.
One. All right, they call themselves Trumpocrats, lifelong Democrats breaking from their party to vote for Donald Trump. So what fueled this very drastic move, and how many are there? Let's ask one of them right now, Christian Rickers. He's a Democratic strategist and executive director of the Trumpocrats PAC. He joins us right now. Christian, what turned you Trumpocrat, and what is it?
Good morning. I really appreciate you having us on this morning, American Uprising and the Trumpocrats. While most people, media outlets across the country are talking about the 50 or so Washington insider Republicans, retired people who are supporting Hillary, there are hundreds of thousands of Democrats, voters in key battleground states that are strong supporters of Donald Trump, and we're giving them a place to work out of, a place to organize, and going to do a lot of grassroots efforts, unlike other super PACs.
As you know, on the Republican right, there were about 16 or 17 candidates. Was Donald Trump the only one you would have supported? Were you ready to leave the Democratic Party anyway, and were going to jump Republican, or is it something about Trump?
Well, I personally voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary, and had already decided I was not going to support Hillary. I came from a very small town where we had 25 manufacturing plants 20 years ago, and now there's one. And he is speaking to that. He's got a plan. He's talked about he's the only one talking about rebuilding infrastructure and manufacturing in this country. And Hillary is more of a, I would say, a global candidate. The Clinton Global Initiative. She's more of a global candidate, and Donald Trump wants to do something here at home first.
So that's true, and I guess when I'm reading your notes, one of the main things that brought you Trump's way is he's always spoke openly against the free trade agreements. He thinks they've been bad for America, so do you. But the big question is, Christian, are you a party of one? Are you somebody involved with the Trumpocrats that are embarrassed to say you're voting for Donald Trump, but will tell everybody how you feel in the voting booth?
People need to know how everybody feels. We're going to go through Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, North Carolina, parts of Florida, very targeted areas, and we're going to shout from the mountaintop about what we need to do to improve things in this country. And there are a lot of people up and down these gutted out communities that really want to make a change, and we're going to give them a place to do that.
Wow. Christian Rickers, who points out that even if Hillary Clinton is against the TPP, she's already spoken for and called it the gold standards 40 separate times. Christian, thanks so much. We'll see how your movement goes, and thanks for coming forward today.
I appreciate it.
All right, coming up straight ahead. Remember when President Obama said this?
If you like your doctor, you'll be able to keep your doctor. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
Yeah, I guess we taped it. Well, the president has an update for you, and you're going to you are holding on to a house. And are you holding on to a house that won't sell? The property man, Bob Massey, is here to help you out. There he is, if you want proof. Mike Emanuel lent him his shot.
Here's some headlines for you. The U.S. is slamming Iran for harassing our warships again. This time, 4 Iranian boats, look at them there, caught on camera, coming just within 300 yards of the U.S. destroyer in the Persian Gulf. They backed off finally after several warning sirens and flares were sent off. And 10 hours of carnage finally over. Gunmen storming the American University in Kabul, leaving at least 12 people dead. The attackers setting off bombs and spraying bullets, sending hundreds of students running for their lives. The attackers believed to be members of the Taliban and were killed. And he took money from the state of Minnesota to fund a trip to go and join ISIS. According to prosecutors, that guy right there, Mohammed Roble, took $91,000 in settlement money from being hurt in that bridge collapse in Minneapolis. Remember that? And then he used that money and headed to Syria. They believe he is using it to help fund the terror army.
Great. Meanwhile, switching gears, the housing market is constantly changing, and your real estate questions are starting to pour in.
Here to tackle viewer emails, the host of The Property Man and Fox News legal analyst, Bob Massey. Hey, Bob, great to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's start with Adriana. She says the HOA has split into 2 phases, and the issue is complicated, she says, but bottom line is we have no say in anything. It appears family members are on the board, no meetings. So what can we do? How do you answer?
Yeah, I actually called her. When I get certain emails, you can almost feel them reaching out. So I called her and talked to her. Long story short, when there's a development, Ainsley, until that development's completed, the developer is what we call the declarant. They do everything with the HOA. And then when it's all finished, there's a board elected. In this case, it was split into 2 phases. What I told her when I spoke to her, I said, look, you need to get a competent lawyer to look at what's going on there, putting family members on the board. The optics of that does not look good. She's concerned she's making payments for 2 phases, not getting what they're supposed to be getting, and it gets very complicated as it relates to what powers they have versus what powers the homeowners have. So I directed her to get a competent lawyer. I gave an idea of the kind of person they need to look for to really look at this complicated issue that's much too difficult to handle over an email. Sure. But When the developer is developing the property, they are, in fact, the homeowners association. That's important for viewers to know.
All right, Bob. Meanwhile, Janet from Florida writes, Bob, I read and love your book. My brother is a victim of identity theft. What can people do to prevent identity theft?
You know, guys, this is going to a level anymore. I can't tell you how many people that I see and how many people that email about identity theft. First of all, it's always harder for the victim to fix it than those who stole. So, I've said this before, check your credit reports every 6 months to see what happens. If there's anything on there that shouldn't be on there. If, in fact, you travel, let your credit card companies know you're traveling. I change my security codes every time I travel out of state with my credit card so that I know, and I have no problem with a retailer or somebody having to call in to check and make sure I am who I am. The most important thing is, if in fact you are a victim, notify immediately your bank, your credit card companies, all people that you have extended credit in order to protect your position. And reversing the identity theft, Steve, is not easy. It's very diligent. You don't necessarily have to run to get a lawyer, but many times that's how it ends up.
Okay, Henry has a real estate question. He lives in Massachusetts, or I guess he lives in Massachusetts. Maybe he has a house down in Florida as well, because he says, we live on a beach in the Diamond District, which is in Fort Myers, Florida. The house is 115 years old. We have fixed it up to modernize it. Doesn't seem to sell any direction. Maybe there's a Diamond District in Massachusetts.
Maybe there is.
Wait. Yeah, it's in Massachusetts. I'm sorry, I should have been clear on paraphrasing that email. Bottom line is, when you have a historic home, you better get the right realtor that understands how to move that kind of home. Never touch the outside of that home, because that's the historic part of it. Even though he modernized the inside of the home, believe it or not, this is a special buyer for a special home. You got to study the area and make sure you get the right realtor to market this type of asset.
All right, not to be confused with the Diamond District on that street on 47th
we can see it from
Street,
here.
too.
All right. Hey, Bob, we'd like to remind folks the Property Man will be back on Fox News Channel Saturdays and Sundays after the presidential election. And if you have a real estate dilemma, email Bob, friends@foxnews.com.
And Bob, what's the name of your book?
Oh, I wrote a book about, actually it's been about 7 years, HarperCollins published it, called People Get Screwed All the Time.
The real estate book. All right.
Thank you.
Bob, thank you. All right, coming up on this Thursday from 48th and 6th Avenue, he spent 25 years in prison for a crime he did not commit, but he's not bitter.
I worship a merciful God. If he forgive people, who am I to hold a grudge against somebody?
Wait until you hear what set him free.
Plus, she's an Olympic gold medalist who just got back from Rio. Venus Williams is serving up her secrets to winning, and she's right there with Brian.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hey. Oh, my God. For how he introduced himself to his new students.
Hello, I'm your teacher. My name's Mr. Reed, and it's very nice to meet ya. I'm from Chicago. I love eating pizza, and I dress to impress, but
Whole year.
Sign me up.
Right? Those kids in Illinois are so lucky.
They are.
Awesome.
All right, meanwhile, Heather Childers has the rest of the news, and we got a very special guest to our immediate right.
I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was.
Well, we begin with this man who went to prison for more than 2 decades for crimes that he didn't commit. And he finally gets to wake up in his own bed this morning. Anthony Wright was just proven innocent of a rape and a murder that happened 25 years ago. His lawyers argued that the investigators at the time faked evidence, and they tried to prove his guilt, even though DNA testing showed another man had committed the crime. This week, he was retried, and a jury cleared his name in less than an hour.
It's been an unbelievable 24 hours for me. I'm not used to what's going on. I'm just living in the moment. You know, I'm on cloud nine. I worship a merciful God. If he forgive people, who am I to hold a grudge against somebody? I don't do that, man.
What a positive attitude. Wright is now enjoying freedom at home with his family. Well, remember when President Obama said this about Obamacare?
If you like your doctor, you'll be able to keep your doctor. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
Well, apparently not so much anymore. Now President Obama's signature catchphrase is nowhere to be found on the Obamacare website. It used to ask, can I keep my own doctor? Now it just gives the option to see if your doctor is in your plan's network. And if you're planning a beach vacation on Long Island, you might want to think twice before getting in the water. Researchers discovering the first known great white shark birthing site in the Northeast. It is right off the eastern coast of Long Island. The group known as O-Search made the groundbreaking discovery by using shark tracking devices. And this is a good thing to know because sharks are most vulnerable where they give birth. And that's a look at your headlines. And now it's time to toss it back out to Maria Molina, where she's going to talk about multiple tornadoes, correct?
Yeah, correct, Heather. Thank you so much. And today we could be seeing more severe weather across the same states that saw it yesterday. We had more than 30 reported tornadoes across portions of Indiana and also extending into Ohio. And as you take a look at that map, same areas are looking at that risk yet again today. We are also anticipating some storms across portions of the plains, anywhere from Texas extending up into Missouri, where damaging winds, some large hail, and isolated tornadoes will also be possible. A big weather story that we've been tracking is a disturbance across the Atlantic that could potentially become a storm or a depression coming up over the weekend and could bring some very gusty winds and heavy rain across the southeast. Anyone that lives out there needs to stay very alert to this storm system. Now let's head over to Steve, Ainsley, and Brian.
All right, Maria, thank you very much. She is a four-time Olympic gold medalist and a champion tennis player who just competed in Rio.
Yeah, Olympics again. Now she's back serving up tips on staying focused and fit through the summer tournament season and getting set for the U.S. Open, of course.
Oh, you used the word serving and set. Did you like that? Yeah. Venus Williams joins us now live.
Good morning.
Congratulations, making a USA proud.
Thank you so much. Nice to be back today. And we were supposed to hit some balls, but you guys got a little bit nervous. So
we knew that it was rigged. You were going to beat us.
I was going to have to. I had to build my confidence for the Open.
How do you stay fit and focused for your tournaments?
Well, my whole lifestyle is about being fit, and one of the big changes I've made is a plant-based diet, and especially the mornings. I'm not a big eater. It's hard to eat a lot of food, and I go and train 4 or 5 hours a day. So I'll do something like have a smoothie, and I'll often use silk coconut milk or almond milk, make big smoothies, protein shakes, lots of fruit, and that gets me through the day.
So one of my daughters does not want to eat in the morning, and she practices like 9 or 11 o'clock, and you cannot play on an empty stomach. You got to find something, correct?
I live in Florida, so I'm up at 6:45. I have to be on the court by 7 because by 8 o'clock it is so hot. Yeah, so tell your daughter 6:45.
Well, you know what? But the plant-based stuff, a couple of the doocies are lactose intolerant, including me. So I've been drinking the almond milk for a while. I think it's great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, and you can put it in everything. I substitute almond milk. I might use the silk almond milk for cookies, for cakes.
It works fine.
For everything. Everything. You can use it for everything.
We had tulips right before this segment.
Well, Venus, here's the thing. When you go and you buy a smoothie, a lot of times these places will put things like yogurt in it, and that's not as healthy, or ice cream as their base. But if you use an almond milk as the base, it's not as many calories, and it tastes just as good.
Absolutely, and it's very good for you, and you can feel good about what you're doing for your body.
You're doing something right.
Thank you.
You have 7 Grand Slams. You want your 8th. And that could happen in the U.S. Open, but you also have many other interests, including fashion and design. And speaking of plants, you have an opportunity for us to go silk?
Yes, opportunity to go silk. I should have brought you guys smoothies today. What was I thinking? I should have brought you my favorite smoothies.
Come by tomorrow.
All right. Are we going to play tennis tomorrow, though?
Are you afraid of us?
Absolutely. Wink, wink.
Well, you're so busy. It's great that you would stop by because, in addition to teaming up with Silk, you've got the fashion, you've got the design stuff.
You're wearing your design, right?
Yes. Today I'm wearing 11 by Venus, and you were asking me earlier, how do you do it? And I said, we're based in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. We do our manufacturing in the United States, right in L.A. The whole team is there. It's a woman-owned business, so it's wonderful to transition from tennis to a life outside of tennis, even though I'm still very focused on the game.
I like what you say. 10 is just a number. 11 is a lifestyle.
And just so you know, before the segment, you said you were also thinking about Tokyo, so maybe another Olympics, right?
I felt like that. You know, I came so close to a goal, like literally points away. It made me start to think about Tokyo. So no pressure, but we'll see.
4 more years.
Yeah.
Started playing tennis at 4 years old. Proud of you. That's awesome.
Serena,
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
We're big fans.
Thank you.
All right, straight ahead, Hillary Clinton calling Donald Trump a racist, but our next guest spent 6 years working for the Trump family and says minorities need to give him a chance.
And she's a lawyer who covers the Supreme Court, but she's also a great cook. There she is, our Shannon Bream, serving up chicken pot pies. She is cooking.
She says she's a great cook.
Here's some headlines for you. A 59-year-old woman plummeting 40 feet from a zip line down to her death, guys. She tumbled from the Treetop Adventure attraction in Delaware. That company and investigators are now trying to figure out exactly what went wrong. And Ethan Couch got probation after killing 4 people in a drunk driving accident. His lawyer says he was too spoiled to know better. Well, his mother was put on house arrest after running off to Mexico with him when he violated his probation. Well, his mom was just released from house arrest. She went back to work with an ankle bracelet, and now, look at that, she's a bartender.
There you go. Meanwhile, let's talk politics. Donald Trump holding a high-stakes meeting later today to win over minority voters as he continues his pitch to court African-American support away from Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot who sees people of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future. You've had her policies, Democrats, running some of the inner cities for 50, 70, 80, even over 100 years. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it.
Our next guest has spent the past 6 years of her life working for Donald Trump and for the family, and she is telling her fellow African Americans to give Trump a chance.
Lynn Patton is finally here, senior assistant to Eric, Ivanka, and Donald Trump Jr., and we see her everywhere. We saw your video online about your background.
Hey, guys.
We've been anxious to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to finally meet you. Tell us about the Trump family that you know.
Well, honestly, it's the best job I've ever had in my life. They are the most down-to-earth, grounded family. It's an honor to go to work with them each and every day, particularly Eric Trump, who I think you're going to see a little bit later. I help run his charity, the Eric Trump Foundation for St. Jude, which in the last 10 years has raised and donated over $30 million for children with cancer, and it's a great thing. You know, at an age when most people, his peers were concerned about social media, he was concerned about social responsibility. And he gets that from his dad. You know, he runs his charity based on the principles his father taught him: trust, honesty, integrity. And he expects other charities to be run with that same moral code.
All right, well, Lynn, you know, traditionally African Americans vote Democrat. Why do you recommend that they vote for Donald Trump?
Well, you know, I think what my boss is saying is that the Democratic Party has made a lot of promises to the Black and Latino communities that have just never materialized. And the numbers don't lie. And since Barack Obama took office, the amount of African Americans living in poverty has risen by 1.4 million. Black home ownership has dropped from 47% to 41%. And this country is hurting. You know, minorities are hurting. Veterans are hurting. Our police officers are hurting. And, you know, you tune into the DNC, and they're speaking in fluffy superlatives that everything's fine and everything's perfect. And quite frankly, I've never seen a party more disconnected from what the American people want.
Lynn, you've been part of the family, working for the family for a number of years. When you hear people who oppose Mr. Trump say he's a racist, he's a bigot, what do you think about that? And what would you like to tell the person who's saying it?
Well, what I know is the Donald Trump that I know. And so he applies the same tenets in life that he applies in the boardroom. And in business, it's all about what you bring to the table. It's not about your ethnicity. It's not about your gender. It's not about what religion you practice. And so that's how he's raised his family. That's how he raised his kids. That's how he conducts his life.
Are there other African Americans in the organization that feel as though that they're part of the family as well?
Of course. You know, Mr. Trump is very outgoing. He's very generous. They're a very loyal family, and when you're loyal to them, they're loyal right back.
Does he empower women? Because I know now his campaign is being run by a woman. As a
100%.
woman, I was happy with that.
100%. And I think his daughter drives home that message each and every day. You know, women who work. She's a mom. She runs a company. She runs a business with her brothers. I mean, there's no more better example of a powerful woman than this one he sets himself in his own family.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for walking over a couple of blocks to be with us today.
Thank you. If I had known Venus was going to be here, I would have worked on my backhand.
Well, you got a good picture out of it anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Len.
Thanks, guys.
All right, still ahead. You're used to seeing her report from the steps of the Supreme Court. But did you know she makes a mean chicken pot pie? We are cooking with Shannon Bream right after the break.
But first, let's check in with Martha McCallum because we promised we would. This is where Martha finds out or tells us what she's going to be putting on her show.
That is right. Good morning, Brian. Good to see you all this morning. So Donald Trump turns table on Hillary Clinton, calling her a bigot for not allowing inner city kids to get school choice. He holds a roundtable in New York. We'll take you there live. And Gary Johnson is here. Could he be a spoiler? And for whom? That is the question. And does WikiLeaks have an October surprise? We will talk about that. Trey Gowdy also joins us this morning. He saw the FBI notes that we have been asking so much about here in America's newsroom from the Hillary Clinton investigation. He's here to tell us what he found in those when we see you at the top of the hour.
You would never be able to tell, Brian.
That's right. Fox News correspondent Shannon Bream is cooking with friends. And what do you mean semi-homemade?
I'm a total fraud. I think out here on Fox, no cooking skills. We're both Southern women, but for me, it kind of skipped a generation. I don't know what happened. You could be a great cook if you had time, but you're a little busy. Maybe. But anyway, so I do things that sort of look homemade. We've got a chicken pie and a cobbler here, but I use ingredients that anybody, it doesn't matter if you can cook or not, like me, you can make something that looks sort of good and definitely tastes good.
All right, let's say we round up kitchen with you, Shannon.
Okay. And because you can, take the tops off the cans, or you can help me add this in. This is chicken pot pie. So literally, I just get chicken that is chunk made. You just
chicken is so
drain
easy
it.
to cook,
You put it in. No, I can't be bothered to cook
you
chicken.
didn't make the chicken. You bought
No, I make the chicken, and then cream of potato.
Cream of potato.
2 cans of cream of potato. There you go. That's one. Woohoo! You can put in veggies too if you want that. I get mixed veggies. Look, they're already diced. It's already done. It's
easy. You
easy.
realize Petridge Farms makes their own pot pies. You could just be microwaving.
Yeah, but this way, people think that the crust is good. We just mix it up. There's everything. You put in a little bit of milk.
This is so simple.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's how I cook. I'm a total fraud. A
Is
little
that all
salt,
milk?
pepper. Yeah.
That looks like salt.
Hey,
salt, pepper, little
why
milk.
don't you just buy chicken pot pie?
Because here's the thing. That's a good point. When a little oregano, because it comes out of the oven and the crust is so golden and yummy and it looks terrific. And plus, people think you made it. You did make it. You did make it. But look, this is I wouldn't use that end. Yeah. You just pour that in. Right. Even I know that's not the correct end.
I know, but I can't get it in.
Close enough. All right, you're close enough. So and you put it in here. We put it in here. These are store-bought crusts. Not surprising.
Right? Why not?
You get the idea. We put that in there, and then you have the one on the top because you get the 2-pack, right? Oh wait, yes. Not 2-pack Shakur, but 2-pack of the
Said
pie.
what happened to him.
I know. It's still a mystery. There's still
They're still
unanswered
investigating.
questions.
I think there's a show on
Well, look,
A&E.
you literally take this and you put it on top. Then,
wow, that's
look,
genius.
you go around the
And it
edges.
is
Ainsley
cheating.
can help me with this.
This
It's
is
totally
cheating.
cheating.
Watch
you
this,
go
Brian.
around.
If you want to make
Boom.
it really
yes, look at this.
you can do this with the fork.
See, Ainsley may have cheated before too.
There you go.
I can't tell. It's possible.
I don't think Ainsley would ever cheat.
Listen, when it comes to cooking, anything, all is fair in love and cooking.
And then you put it in the. Brian is going to put it into the oven.
Oh, yeah.
Over.
Yeah, there you go.
That one's already cooked. Oh yeah.
That one.
This one.
You can put this one in there. But listen, it's so easy. $3.75 for about 45 minutes. You just wash the crust until it looks like something edible.
It's a little crispy.
And look, it comes out all nice and flaky. You take it to a baby shower. You take it to, a friend's house who's under the weather. And it looks like you're
Does this comfort food
Yeah.
fatty? Does that mean it gets
Yes, this means I don't eat like this every day. But on occasion, it's good for fall.
By the way, no one
Should we
can
try
ever
it?
have a pot pie from a store that doesn't burn the roof of their mouth. Shannon Bream is different.
Right, it's here. And plus you fake people out. I never lie. If people ask, I tell them the truth about it. But this is how I cook. And it's okay to use shortcuts. Go ahead.
It tastes homemade.
See,
It tastes homemade.
it's all in the scam.
Hey, look at this.
Right?
This is just about done.
You might want to give that a little bit more time on that one.
That is some good acting.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have time to talk about cobbler.
We do. Real quick.
This is another fake out. You use pie filling. You actually put it into a casserole dish. Okay. As much of pie filling as you can.
There you go.
And then listen. Being from the South, I recommend Jiffy Yellow Cake Mix.
Oh, my
Jiffy
goodness.
Yellow Cake Mix. And you just literally put it on top.
It's that
That's
easy.
it. And then you slice up butter. That on the other.
More on the cobbler than anyone can make with Shannon Bream in just a moment. We're going to take a wide shot. The music will get louder. Then we're going to see a commercial. How many butters? Maybe it's a reverse.
The whole stick.
Tomorrow on the big telecast.
We have Julian Assange.
Wow, tomorrow?
Yes,
tomorrow.
Wow, I'm going to And who else, Brian?
I
thought I wasn't going to.
The All American Concert Series focuses on. Should we give away who the...
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Debbie